news, Oklahoma, right here on the Jake Merrick Show on the new Freedom 96.9.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show this Friday morning, July 26th, 7:35 a.m. And I'm looking at Project 2025. It's been all over the news. And recently we had Kamala Harris saying in a one of her first big appearances as I don't even know what to call her right now. Is she the official pick? I think she's the official pick. I don't know if it's official, but anyway, in one of her latest rallies in Wisconsin, she criticized Trump and, quote unquote, his extreme Project 2025 agenda. And so she's trying, along with the media and the left, they desperately want to connect Trump with Project 2025. And so that's why you need to know about it. Many on the right have already set it aside. This is not Trump's agenda. He's made that clear. But the left wants it to appear so. And so more of this gaslighting we're seeing rampant in the left, rampant in the media. And so that's why I wanted to really address this, talk about this, because we're going to hear more about it leading into November. And so I wanted to talk with someone who had done their own research and dug into it deeply here in Oklahoma. And so I knew that Linda Murphy had. She's the former deputy commissioner of the Oklahoma Department of Labor and former Republican nominee for state superintendent. Welcome to the show, Linda.
Good morning, Jake.
Well, I appreciate your diving into this. I know that you've posted about this and have opened up some conversations around Project 2025. It's kind of a mixed bag, isn't it?
Yes, it sure is. There are things in there that any conservative Republican would like and agree with and want to see accomplished in policy. But when you say Project 2025, of course, you're talking about a whole package. So we've got to look at it closely. And there are a lot of things that I have a problem with myself.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here, and right off the bat on page 9, it says, talking about defending our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. And it says, the United States belongs to we the people. All government authority derives from the consent of the people, and our nation's success derives from the character of its people. The American people's right to rule ourselves is the obverse of our duty. We cannot outsource to others our obligation to ensure the conditions that allow our families, local communities, churches, and synagogues and neighborhoods to thrive. The buck stops with each of us, so each of us must have the freedom to pursue the good for ourselves and those entrusted to our care. I think that's one of the things almost every Republican would get behind. I mean, that right there is saying we the people are the government. And so it's one of those things that you mentioned that, hey, there are a lot of things in here that are good, but there's some things that have caused some concerns and open up questions. What are some of those things that you've observed that you have concerns about with this Project 2025?
Well, I've got some excerpts here. I'll just read and talk about them individually. There are 922 pages in this manual that they've produced from the Heritage Foundation. And the Heritage Foundation was founded by Paul Wyrick a number of years ago. He is a Catholic leader at that time, conservative. We know Catholics are conservative, but of course in Oklahoma, most of our Catholic friends are conservatives. So we've got, just right up front, the very first thing that stands out is on page, right in the introduction, the pillar number 4. There are 4 pillars. The playbook says we are forming agency teams and drafting transition plans to move out upon the president's utterance of "So help me God." Well, what does that mean? You know, we've got different beliefs about God, and integrating God into public policy becomes very treacherous. And, of course, that's what they're doing with this. Now, here's an example. In the labor laws, it says Sabbath rest. These are the words. Sabbath rest. God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest. And until very recently, the Judeo-Christian tradition sought to honor that mandate by moral and legal regulation of work on that day. Congress should encourage communal rest by amending the Fair Labor Standards Act to require that workers be paid time and a half for hours worked on the Sabbath. So in the name of the Bible, the Sabbath, one of the 10 Commandments, and then what do we mean by Sabbath? And it goes into the description of the fact that there are people that have different views of the Sabbath and that it would revert back to a default for Sunday. Well, I mean, we can get into all kinds of doctrinal disputes about the Bible regarding labor law. You see, I'm just saying, why do that?
Yeah, I mean,
why go there?
We've seen these enforced in the United States, and I guess in some parts they may still be enforced in Canada and some European countries. The blue laws, which would prohibit working, buying and selling on Sundays, sometimes even consuming alcohol, dancing in extreme places, maybe even laughing too loudly. And so sometimes these blue laws, they were actually common here in the U.S. And we've seen, for the most part, these be repealed. Now, I mean, businesses are opened. On Sundays, people pretty much go about their business, do what they will. It's kind of another day for a lot of Americans. So some would say, well, this is contributing to the degradation of our culture and our society. And in order to get back on the right track, laws like these need to be reinstituted. But others would say that, hey, that would be forcing a doctrine on people. And so this is really at the heart of this is this discussion of the relationship between church and state.
Yes.
And whenever you start, this is obviously something near and dear to my heart. I know that you, as a preacher's kid and a strong believer, you're not saying we need to do away with God, but I know you're talking about this relationship between the church and the state. Tell me, what is it you believe about that, the relationship between the church and the state, and what role the church should have in politics?
Well, we've heard the words used so many times that there is not a wall of separation between the church and state in the Constitution, in law. That's true. Those words are not there. But clearly, our Constitution, our state Constitution, our federal Constitution, our state laws, our federal laws have all been based on not bringing religious beliefs into government in such a way that we are establishing a religion or even indicating that religion should be regulated in any way or promoted in any way. Because when we start doing that, well, look what happened at the RNC. There's a big discussion going on, as there should be, about the prayers at the RNC. You know, we heard a Sikh prayer that went out nationally. Well, why? Because we've got all kinds of religious interests that are getting concerned about the Christian promotion being done. And we can understand that. So I say we need to make sure that we follow the common sense laws and constitution that we have and not give special interest or vested interest a bigger role in the say about what is mandated. We just can't do that.
Here with Linda Murphy.
And have civil government.
Here with Linda Murphy, former deputy commissioner of the Oklahoma Department of Labor. So, Linda, obviously we're looking right here in Oklahoma at the recently released rules from the Oklahoma State Department of Education concerning the Bible mandate. So Ryan Walters issued this mandate saying that the Bible will be taught in every public school. And, of course, the people lost their mind. It's like, what are we thinking? And I had concerns, too, because I'm asking the same question. What do you mean? Because, we have doctrinal differences, even among Protestant believers.
There we go.
Concerning baptism, speaking in tongues, the commission, Great Commission, the communion. And so many differences. I wouldn't feel comfortable with my daughter receiving doctrinal instruction in a public school setting. But I did have Ryan Walters on And he said, this is not about teaching doctrine. It's about teaching the connection to history, the influence of the Bible on the founding of our country. And then when the rules were released, it did in fact say that this actually should not teach any kind of religious preference or doctrinal issues. This is only about historical context and the influence of the Bible on our culture. So where do you stand with this? Are you comfortable with this mandate and in light of these recently released rules?
I think the rules just recently released help a bit, but there is still much confusion out there because of statements that were made early on. You know, the announcement at the state school board that every teacher in every class would have a Bible in the classroom and teach from the Bible. Well, what does that mean? I mean, we can go on and on. What Bible, whose Bible, you know, what class, music, PE, science, are we going to get into evolution? I mean, all those questions come up. So he's helped clarify that somewhat, but I just wish that there was more time spent up front before these things are rolled out, because we already have law in place, which has ensured that we don't have our right to have a Bible in the classroom taken away, because it's never been illegal. Even the Supreme Court decision in 1963 was not to remove the Bible from the classroom, but that the state could not mandate that the Bible be read a certain amount of time during the day. That was the state mandating the Bible, which established the Bible as a curriculum on a daily basis. And that was not right. And I think the Supreme Court was right in removing that. But they did not remove the right to have the Bible in the classroom. I'll just be real blunt. Frankly, we've heard from the right as well as from the left things said over and over that are not accurate. The Bible has never been illegal to have in the public school classroom. Now, does the left, that is the far left, the atheists that are on the left, do they want the Bible removed entirely? Yes. So you just have to be able to, you know, sort this out and read what the law actually says. So in Oklahoma, we passed law 3 different times that help establish how to utilize the classroom Bible as a supporting document, and that's what Ryan's talking about right now. Ryan Walters, our state superintendent, is talking about that. That's already in law. The 10 Commandments and supporting documents such as the 10 Commandments, the Bible, and other documents that are, you know, directly related to what we're talking about in the class. History, literature, art, music, there are direct correlations. So, again, that was already in law. I've just written an article that will be in the Oklahoma Constitution when that's published here in the next few days. I'll send you a copy of that, and I've really clarified in that a lot of what's wrong, you know, with the way this has come across.
Yes.
And, you know, it is good to start clearing it up.
I want to read it. Yeah, please send me a copy. Here with Linda Murphy, former Deputy Commissioner of the Oklahoma Department of Labor. I'm going to go to a break, Linda. If you can hang on for a little bit after the break, I'd like to talk some more about this Project 2025.
Sure.
All right, you guys stay tuned. Got more to come with Linda Murphy. First, a big shout out to McGuire Capital, helping you with all your financial needs, making the right investments. I'm about to go talk with Michael today, talking about setting up a trust. So that's something that they can help you with. It's someone that we use. That's why I recommend him. He can help you out. So go check out all you can do at McGuireCap.com. Stay with me. Got more to come after the break. Jake Merrick Show, Freedom 96.9.
Traffic. We now take you to our eye in the sky.
Checking out Freedom Traffic on this Friday morning. Yukon to downtown 23 minutes. Norman to downtown 28 minutes. Edmond to downtown 21 minutes. And Midwest City to downtown 24 minutes. Keep in mind the construction project and lane shifting going on at the Dallas Junction. Also I-40 east and westbound between Douglas and Hiawassee. That's Freedom Traffic.
Keeping you up to date on events that impact your world. That's our specialty. We're Oklahoma's talk radio. The new Freedom 96.9 and Freedom969.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-488-2594. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-488-2594. That's 800-488-2594. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Do you know what your retirement is going to look like? Are you confident you will have enough income to last throughout your lifetime? Are you able to weather a downturn in the market? The Bull and Bear Show can help answer those questions. We cover topics such as Social Security maximization, income planning, and asset allocation. Listen to Freedom 96.9, Saturdays from 10 to 1 to the Bull and Bear Show with Michael McGuire of McGuire Capital to help secure your retirement.
Unrest at home and around the world. Stay strong. Stay informed by making the new Freedom 96.9 and Freedom969.com your first choice for talk radio in Oklahoma.
It's Brian Kilmeade.
Here's the deal on J.D. Vance. 9 things that you're not going to like about it. Not even a moment to say, hey, now your ticket's formed. It's going to be a great 4 months. Let's have at it in a civil way. That would have been a normal thing to do. Is the staff missing the moment? Are they that bad? Do they think the only way to win is to create tension, make the other guys look unelectable still?
The Brian Kilmeade Show. Weekdays 8 to 11 a.m. on the new Freedom 96.9. Talking about things that matter to you, your community, and Oklahoma. The Jake Merrick Show. The new Freedom 96.9.
All right, guys, welcome back to the last leg of the show. Here with Linda Murphy, former Deputy Commissioner of the Oklahoma Department of Labor and former Republican nominee for State Superintendent. Welcome back, Linda.
Hi.
Well, we're talking about the Project 2025, and it's interesting. I felt like it was important to bring this up because in the recent rally, Kamala Harris's rally on Tuesday in Wisconsin, she criticized Trump, and she is forcing this connection with Project 2025, even though he has completely disavowed himself from it. He has distanced himself from 2025. This is a 920-page blueprint organized by the Heritage Foundation, and it did have some influence from people who served in the Trump administration, but this does not mean that Trump himself espouses this view or has adopted it. And so it's interesting, her attempt to force this. I'm looking here at this article from CNN, of all places, and they actually call her out on this. And they say one of Harris's claims about Project 2025 is false, while another is at least misleading. The Project 2025 document does not show that Trump intends to cut Social Security. The document barely discusses Social Security. And the Project 2025 does not call to end the Affordable Care Act, as she was claiming. So we're going to hear more of this, I believe, because the 2025 project is so controversial, even among Republicans. They want to try to connect Trump to this. So, Linda, even as we were discussing earlier, even among Republicans, this is hotly debated about whether or not this is something we should adopt.
That's right. And, you know, Jake, just common sense tells us it's inevitable. When you put 900 pages together of policy, you're going to have a lot of discussion and debate, and you should have. So to accept this whole package would be ludicrous for any politician, in my opinion. John Adams, when he was crafting, President John Adams, crafting the Massachusetts Constitution, said that his objective, his goal was that to the end, it may be a government of laws and not of men. And when you look at the people participating in this project, we know some of these people here in Oklahoma. You know, they're not my enemy by any means at all, and I agree on a number of things, but it doesn't mean I automatically agree with everything, and certainly that's the case with this project. There are multimillionaires that have been funding the nonprofits that are involved. There are about 100 partners that are listed, and one of them is Claremont Institute, for example. There's been a lot written about Michael Anton, who has spoken out in 2016 during the presidential election and now. And, of course, he's one person, but he's also listed as a writer of this project. And so I think it's legitimate to look at where he's coming from. He calls for the need for a red Caesar, he says, a Caesar. And there is a man from Hillsdale, Kevin Slack, who says that what he calls the new right now often discusses a red Caesar, by which it means a leader whose post-constitutional rule will restore the strength of the people, of his people. You know, this is not the representative government of a republic based on a constitution. And that's what we want. That's what we've got. Yes, it's slipping in many ways. We know the federal government does have a great overreach, but even in this Project 2025, although they state some of the principles accurately that we probably would all stand on in the Republican Party, they say that they want a new office for tribal nations that they recognize as sovereign, and that they want a standalone office that would be ran by the tribes, which is now under the EPA, but they want the tribal nations to run this office, which would be a federal office, and all of the EPA tribal grants and tribal matters would be ran through this office. It says a one-stop shop for all tribal affairs. Well, this is expansion of government, right? And recognizing tribal sovereignty at that level and making it a part of our federal government, I'm not sure what their ideology is there, you know, but that's quite mixed in my opinion as far as, you know, I'm not saying that tribal sovereignty hasn't been recognized. I'm just talking about expanding our U.S. federal government to include a separate office and expand government in that way.
Yeah,
that just sounds
and that happens
treacherous.
So frequently, even here in Oklahoma. I witnessed it firsthand on the Senate floor, how bill after bill were passed that would create new departments, new task force, new agencies, and you know we're just expanding. And in a Republican-dominated state. And so I think that we've lost an understanding of what it means to expand government. I think you bring out a good point that this would be an example of it.
Exactly. And, you know, I have to agree with former President Trump, who has said that he finds some of this ludicrous, absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Some of the things they are saying. He said that in his post.
When he called it extreme, and so much of it is extreme. Linda, man, I feel like we're just getting started, but we're out of time. So we're going to have to do this again to dig into this a little bit more. But I really appreciate your time here this morning.
Sure. Thank you, Jake.
All right. As Linda Murphy, if you missed any of that, check it out at the archives, freedom969.com. Man, check out Project 2025. Read through it. It's 920 pages, so get into it as much as you can. I'm going through it myself. I know a lot of people are looking at it. And, man, lots to talk about as we lead into November. But you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will see you right back here on Monday. Jake Merrick Show.